Alright, today we're going to be making honey bun cake. Now this is a recipe that looked really good on the internet, so we're going to give it a try. It starts with a block of cream cheese, and you beat it with your mixer until it's smooth.
Make sure to hold up the bowl of this camera.
Alright, there it's been creamed. Still a little sticky. Then it says you're going to add 4 eggs, 2/3 cup of oil, and the cake mix. And I just used a yellow cake mix that we had on hand. And it's 4 eggs. And 2/3 cup of oil. Now I'm going to get this mixed up first, and then I'm going to add my cake mix. Alright, I got that mixed up pretty good, so now I'm going to add in my cake mix. And you can use any yellow cake mix. I just happen to have this one on hand. I'm going to mix it in slow so it doesn't get everywhere. And I turn my bowl as I mix. As it starts to get thick, then I'm going to speed it up. Get all your lumps out, make it good and smooth. Let me step out for just a minute. I gotta grab my spatula.
Don't forget to show this camera.
Alright, so there's my cake batter. Now I'm just gonna scrape down the sides and see if I need to mix it anymore. If everything looks like it's mixed up on the bottom, then we're good to go. Cream cheese can sometimes be hard to work with. And you can always leave it out and let it come to room temperature first. Then you just make sure your mix is mixed up really good on the bottom. And all that's done. Now what it says to do with this cake batter is to put half in your pan. So we're just going to kind of eyeball it. Hang on. It says prepared baking dish. And I guess that means we're going to spray it with some cooking spray. I was going to forget something out of the cabinet. Alright. So I'm just going to spray down my pan. And you can use any kind of, you can grease and flour it if you want. It's just kind of quicker and easier just to use some cooking spray. Alright. And I'm going to try to just pour half of this into my dish. We're just going to spread it out. And it did say to use a 13 by 9 dish, and this is what I've got. It's a 13 by 9. It's a little deeper dish than most people probably will have, but it doesn't have to be deep. And then you can always give it a shake to level it out. And then it says for the center, we're going to make up, I got a cup of brown sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and we're going to mix those together. I'm just using a spoon. You could use a whisk, but brown sugar is kind of a little damp, so I don't know that it would whisk very good with the cinnamon, so we're just going to stir it up. And I'm just cutting it in and flipping it over. Make sure you don't have any clumps of brown sugar in there. Looks like it's mixed up pretty good. So then it says to put it over the top of this cake mix, and I'm just going to sprinkle it in.
Talk a little bit more about the recipe.
What?
Like how good it looked or whatever, where you found it.
This looked really good on the internet. And I have a brother that loves honey buns. So I thought I'd give this a try to see how it turns out. If it turns out good, then I'll take him one. He's supposed to be on a diet, so he ain't supposed to have it, but I'm going to try it anyway. He just had to break his diet for a little bit to try it. Alright, so now we've got all that put in there. Now it says to take the rest of the cake mix, and you're going to dollop it onto it and then spread it out. So a dollop is just like a spoonful at a time. And I got a big spatula here, so I'm just going to dollop it on. Like they say. And then we're going to put it in the oven. And you're going to bake it at
350.
At 350 for 35 to 40 minutes, I think. But once you get all this dolloped in, then you're going to go back and spread it so that everything gets covered. Trying to make sure I get all this out of there. Alright. I'm just going to spread it out very gently, because you don't want to disturb the cinnamon and sugar. So it looks like it's going to be harder than it looks. Yep. Not as easy as it looked.
But that's why we're doing these recipes.
And the last one I did for y'all was apple pie bread. I want you to know I took that to work and didn't come home with a piece of that one loaf. It's a good thing I kept a loaf here. Alright, there we go. Try to get it all the way to the edge.
All as good as you're going to get it.
Yep, that may be about as good as it's going to get, because it just keeps wanting to stick to my spatula. But this cake batter should spread on out once it gets warm. Alrighty, so now I'm going to put this in the oven. This is the first time for us. 350. Let's see, for 30 to 35 minutes. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay. Our cake is out of the oven. I'm letting it cool. It says to let it cool for 5 minutes. And we're going to make our glaze. Now our glaze is 2.5 cups of powdered sugar.
Aren't you gonna poke it first?
I am in a minute.
Okay.
2.5 cups powdered sugar, half a cup of milk, and a teaspoon of vanilla. They tell you while it's warm, you're gonna go ahead and poke it, and I've just got a meat thermometer. I'm just gonna poke holes in it. Then I'm going to measure my vanilla, one teaspoon. Doesn't take much with powdered sugar to make a glaze, so you're just going to add your milk. And then I like to use a whisk to whisk out all the lumps. And it's going to look a little brown because of the vanilla. You see, it's looking lumpy. You just keep whisking until you get all your lumps out. You don't want those dry pieces of sugar on the top of your cake. I plan on taking some of this to my co-workers again tomorrow to see what they think about this recipe. Alright, now it's pretty smooth. So it says you just pour it over the cake. I'm just going to let it go over all of it. Okay. And since this cake is warm, it's just going to seep into it. I'm going to take my spoon here and just kind of spread it around so that you have an even coat on the top. And then I'll just let the rest of it soak in. Alright, now I have to wait on it to cool before we can taste it or even cut it. So I'll see y'all in a little bit. Alright. Alright, so we're going to cut into this and see how it looks. This is the first for me too, so I'm just not sure. There we go. Look at all that goodness. Cinnamon and sugar. Cinnamon and brown sugar, rather. That looks good, doesn't it? Thank you for watching. Please like and share.